You're watching Alabama's WVUA News at 10.
They were our neighbors, our friends, our husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, children, and parents. They were the ones who rushed in to help.
God bless every soul that we lost. God bless the family members who have to endure that loss. And God guide us to our reunion in heaven.
They each had a face, a story, a life cut short from under them.
Good evening, I'm Matt McCoy. Today, Americans across the country and right here in West Alabama mourn the 2,977 lives that were lost on 9/11. Memorials were held at each attack site, the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and a rural field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Chris Knowles shows us how the victims were remembered at each of those memorials.
From Ground Zero to the Pentagon and the fields of Shanksville, Pennsylvania, a very different scene 10 years later. The images of September 11th, 2001 replaced with remembrance. Amid tight security and the cloud of another credible threat, thousands gathered at Ground Zero. President Barack Obama and former President George W. Bush stood together. The new memorial and the names of the 2,753 victims, their backdrop.
My father, Sebastian Gorky, who I never met because I was in my mom's belly. I love you, Father. I love you for loving the idea of having me. You gave me the gift of life, and I wish you could be here to enjoy it with me.
There were moments of silence as bells tolled, beginning at 8:46 a.m. when the first plane hit the World Trade Center. President Obama then traveled to Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where he joined family members of the victims aboard United Flight 93. And a ceremony was held at the Pentagon where 184 people died.
Every time this nation is attacked, you knew it only emboldens us to stand up.
At all three sites, President Obama and the First Lady met with relatives of those killed on that tragic day.
Tonight, President Barack Obama made his final stop of the day at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., where he paid tribute to the victims of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. It was all part of the National Cathedral's Concert of Hope. Mr. Obama praised those first responders and those who have been fighting for our freedom in the decade following 9/11.
Decades from now, Americans will visit the memorials to those who were lost on 9/11. They'll run their fingers over the places where the names of those we loved are carved into marble and stone, and they may wonder at the lives that they led. And standing before the white headstones in Arlington and in peaceful cemeteries and small town squares in every corner of the country, they will pay respects to those lost in Iraq and Afghanistan. They'll see the names of the fallen on bridges and statues, at gardens and schools, and they will know that nothing can break the will of a truly united States of America.
As people took time out of their days to remember that fateful September day, so did many businesses and government buildings. Several flags around Tuscaloosa were lowered to half-staff to honor those victims that lost their lives on September 11th. Tonight, the city of Tuscaloosa honored those victims with a memorial service at the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. WVUA's Victoria Sheehan was there and has more on how people in West Alabama are remembering 9/11 10 years later.
8:54 a.m. Hijacking begins on Flight 77. 8:58 a.m. Flight 175 takes a heading toward New York City.
1 decade and over 1,000 miles away, Tuscaloosa is far removed from the smoke-filled skyline from September 11th, 2001. But even today, 10 years later, people in Alabama say they will never forget.
We get complacent with things that go on, so we get used to the new normal is here, but the memory of those people are still with us.
9:37 a.m., Flight 77 crashes into the western side of the Pentagon and starts a violent fire.
10 years ago, I was at the fire station the day this happened, and I remember my lieutenant coming in and saying, "You need to come out here and look at this." And we watched it on TV for several minutes, and now to think back it was 10 years ago is just remarkable to me, because I'm thinking that, it just seems like yesterday. And then another part of me thinks it was 100 years ago. I think about those people that were on that plane. I think about the people that were in that building, in the Pentagon, in the World Trade Center, and I think what a horrible death that must have been. And so it will make me never forget.
Children born after 9/11 are taught the lessons learned after that fate-filled day from generations who saw the destruction with their own eyes.
I think that if we can look at people and say, we are better than this, better than what's going on right now. Some of these small kids that don't remember 9/11, that's like me trying to remember Pearl Harbor. It's still something that we have to remember, but we have to move on from it.
The theme around the country and right here in West Alabama remains two words that are etched in people's minds. Never forget that when tragedy strikes, this nation answers together. And everywhere, Americans can make those who died at the hands of terrorists proud of the country they gave the ultimate sacrifice for.
The strong among them dig and pray in sadness where the heroes lay, and one by one commit to earth the innocent who died. But this was not their judgment day, and this was not their price to pay. And where two towers stood together, now stand millions side by side. So as we leave tonight, and in remembrance of the victims and the heroes of September 11, 2001, let us remember that our work continues now and forever through our love of God, family, country, state, and community, and let's make them proud. Thank you.
As people around the country remember 9/11, they also remember where they were. Whether it was in a classroom learning about their character word of the month or in a school assembly, people will always remember where they were when they heard the news of the attacks for the first time. WVUA spoke with some people in West Alabama about what they were doing 10 years ago today.
One of the girls in my grade just kind of ran in and told us that the U.S. had been attacked, but didn't really know much about what had happened. So our science teacher came in and escorted us to the library and told us that we were kind of in the middle of history in the making.
I really did not understand what was going on. I'd never heard of the Twin Towers. I didn't understand why anyone would damage them in any way. I didn't understand why parents would want to take us home when it was so far away.
As we head to break, we're going to leave you with some more sights and sounds from the 9/11 Memorial in New York City.
God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear.
The true legacy of 9/11 is that our spirit is mightier. The bonds that unite us are thicker, and the resolve is firmer than the millions of tons of limestone and concrete that make up that great edifice behind me.
I hope that I can make my father proud of the young men that my brother and I have become. I miss you so much, Dad.